Hey there guys, Erica here from Highway 40 NRC. Today I was doing a little bit of work on my SCX-10 here, and I was digging into the axles a little bit, looking at the axle shafts. And honestly, I haven't driven this thing since Crawl for a Cure, and I haven't talked about it or done any work on it since. So what I want to bring up is axle shaft pins. And in particular, because if you guys watched my Stories from Crawl for a Cure video, I believe it's called, I talked about constantly breaking these upgraded axle shafts here. And I broke multiple pins. I broke the shaft itself once, and I got tired of it. And I was at the end of the day, like I mentioned in that video, and I had a broken axle shaft, and I needed to replace it so I could go on the night crawl. So what I did, or I need to replace the pin, that is, which is that stupid tiny little pin right there. That is the pin that goes in the CV joint. So what I did was I used a body clip to actually repair that axle shaft. And it held up very well, actually, which is that one right there. That's the one that I repaired. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try a similar method, but slightly different over here. And I'm going to use a piece of 1/16 inch welding rod. It's not MIG wire. It's like welding filler rod for TIG welding or like gas welding, and it's the perfect size. It fits super well into the little centerpiece there. So basically what I'm going to do, or I'm going to show you how to do, is you basically get this to fit, or your body pin. I had to file this down just a little bit to get it to fit in there. You get to fit and you cut it long. You got to make sure that you cut it long so that this collar will be a press fit on, and so that it sticks out the hole far enough so that it won't end up slipping or sliding back inside. So let me cut that, and I will show you what I mean by all this. Okay, so as you can see, this is the centerpiece that fits into the axle shaft there, and my rod I've got filed a little bit so that it fits on there pretty good. It's a little bit snug, which is okay, but I've already taken and marked it off camera just to make it a little bit easier. So now I'm going to take and just cut it with my pliers. This probably isn't the best pair of pliers to be doing this with, or a pair of cutters even. Cut it about there, just like that. And there is our new pin. Now, this isn't going to work immediately, because after you've cut it, there's going to be a bit of a burr on the end where you cut it, so you need to file it. And also, if you notice, you're not really going to be able to see it in the video here because my fingers are huge and this thing is tiny, but basically there's a little bit of like a wedge shape on there, and you don't want that. You want it as flat as possible to fit so that it doesn't slip on that cup. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take and file it and get it so that it will go in how I want it. Let's get this off here and just check the length in the stub section. And as you can see, I think, let's see, as you can see right here, it's slightly longer, and that's perfect. So, because we need to take and file it down as flat as we possibly can before we do the final assembly and get it pressed in. Alright, so I've got the pin filed up and nice and square on the ends. You want to make sure it's nice and the ends are super square and not rounded over, because otherwise it'll end up slipping out of the cup. So what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of grease here off camera. Just going to put super small light amounts of grease on this bulb just to keep it from rusting and to provide a little bit of lubrication while it's running. Same thing on the roller, or this centerpiece, just a little bit. You don't want tons, because otherwise you'll get rocks and dirt and stuff in there, and it'll end up actually eating away at the metal before you actually get any good use out of it, especially if you run in dry conditions such as sand and loose dirt. So now we can go ahead and assemble this. Take and get the pin slid into, or the tumbler. I'm gonna call it the tumbler, even though that's not what it is. I'm gonna call it that because who cares. I'm gonna take and slide that in there just like so. Put this into the cup, grab our pin that we just made, slide that down in there. Might take a little bit of finagling to get lined up good and straight. That's one thing I didn't do. You guys need to check and make sure that your pin, after you're done with it, will go through the hole in the tumbler. The thing that I'm calling the tumbler. Alright, looks like I need a little bit more filing here. Just clean up the edges, make sure there's no burrs for it to get hung up on. I just need to do that for one side, really. Take and try and get that back in there. And, come on. It's a little bit of finagling. Get in there. There we go. It's going in. Sorry for the shadow there. Perfect. Pin is in there, and the great thing about this is that because this piece of rod was tight to begin with, and that we filed it down, this is now super, super tight, and I can feel almost no slop. Like, actually, I cannot feel darn near any slop. Just roll that around a little bit, get the grease dispersed. Like I said, you don't want a ton, just enough to ward off any rust and to keep it well lubricated. And finally, you're going to take your CVD collar, slide it over top, and that is what will capture your pin in place. Now, the ideal scenario is that this collar is a little bit tight, and that ensures that your pin is just long enough so that it's sticking out of the cup far enough that it will not slip at all. And a little squeeze of the pliers, locking that collar on. You have a finished, upgraded CVD joint. I feel a little bit of tightness in there, but that'll just work itself out. I assume that that has to do with the pin to some degree. But just like that, we're good to go. So, the thing I'm interested to see now that this is done the way it is I want to see which shaft holds up longer, the one that was replaced or upgraded with the body pin or with the welding wire. This one there is a little sticky spot, which is from the pin. However, that should wear in and shouldn't be a problem in the end. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this basic little tutorial on how to upgrade your upgraded axial SCX-10 CVDs. These aren't actually real CVDs. I don't think there even is a real RC CVD by definition. That's a different story. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this and got some useful tips out of it. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, comment down below if this helped you guys. Also, as it is Thanksgiving today, have a wonderful Thanksgiving with all your friends and family and all that stuff. What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for every single one of you guys that are watching this video that have helped me get to where I am today. So, thank you again so much for watching. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, y'all.